my friend. I feel like I might be a little bit late to the game when it comes to reviewing this video, but as they say, better to be invited than not be invited at all, right? I say that mostly because, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was disappointed, but fact is a fact. This is a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, first model year of the Lightning. Speaking of years, I think we could all agree that 2020 calendar year, the darling vehicle of that, well, year that we probably all like to forget, was the C8 Corvette. For 2021, this was the darling of the year. And if you ask me now, only January 2023, what was the darling of 2022? I'm not even sure I could tell you right now. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, point is that, yes, this is my personal first encounter with the Ford F-150 Lightning. And after 5 days with this truck, what's amazing about it is that there are so many things and yet so few things to say about it. And that really has a lot to do with Ford's decision in bringing an electric version of the F-150 as opposed to restyling it completely, trying to create an all-new pickup such as Ram and more or less what Chevy are doing with the Silverado and the Ram EV 1500, whatever it's called, I forget. Suffice it to say that this thing is incredible, unbelievable. It feels unstoppable. And so far this week, I've only come face to face with one mild issue. And I'll tell you more about that. Well, actually, I'll tell you more about that now, because basically what's going to happen is that later today, I and my family are going on a very long road trip, a 600, not quite 600, 550 kilometer round trip weekend getaway at country. And it's cold outside. Right now it's only about -3, -4 degrees Celsius. And it's supposed to get very cold later on. There's snow coming over the weekend. So essentially I'm going on a road trip with an EV whose range has been kind of weird. Right now the battery is, I believe, at 99%. And since I fully charged it this morning, and I've already lost about 65 kilometers of range, and I've only traveled 5 kilometers at the absolute most. So that has me very concerned. But before we get to that, which will happen later, we'll just take a quick walk around of this 2022 Ford F-150 Lariat. It's a 2022. I have 2023 prices, and I'll give you an idea of what the changes are. Hint one of them is that it got a heck of a lot more expensive. So hang in there, walk around, and then later on, but immediately after, in the edit, of course, the drive. Okay, I'm gonna start the video with what is obviously the most novel feature of the new Ford F-150 Lightning, and that's the frunk. I mean, it offers up to 400 liters of space. There's even a little bit of room under here. This is one of the things I'm looking forward to actually experiencing because there's going to be a ton of luggage in there. You also have, look at that, the Pro Power business. Very, very cool stuff. Let's just close that up. It's quite the parlor trick, though. I did go to Costco earlier this week, and I put stuff in the front. Not many people noticed me or were looking at me, but that's just my bruised ego. Okay, enough of that. All right, so physically what you're looking at is an F-150, and that's one of the reasons why I think this thing is so hot and so cool. It's just that it is an F-150. I mean, the front end is obviously where the biggest differences are found. I mean, you have this huge signature LED brow over the grille, and it looks fine. The only issue really here is that, it's El Cheapo-ish plastic. It looks mean, badass, I guess, but it just really isn't. Thankfully, compared to my previous EV drives, yes, the charge port is right here, and it's been cooperative, and despite the snow and all that, it's been opening up nicely. What else can I say about the styling? Yeah, the running boards are standard for all models, and 20-inch wheels are standard as well. These are kind of like, they look like arrow blade type wheels, you know, for maximum efficiency. Lol, for an 8,500-pound truck. Yeah, otherwise it only comes in one configuration, so the crew cab and a 5-foot 5-inch box. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this quickly. 2022 pricing for the base XLT was $68,000 for 22. In 23, $79,000. Going all the way up to the Platinum, doesn't matter what 2022 pricing was, because for the 23 it's $121,000. In the US, 23 pricing only available online. And it starts with the Pro, which is the Fleet model, $55,974. The XLT, $63,474. And if you go all the way to the Platinum, you're looking at just shy of $100,000 before options. In Canada, I mean, the base XLT comes, well, very well equipped. Okay, so you get a 12-inch digital IP, 12-inch touchscreen. You get the running boards, the power tailgate, the Pro Power on board, and a 9.6 kilowatt setup. These 20-inch wheels. I mean, it basically has all the basic features you need and want. When you step up to the Lariat, you get cooled front seats that are leather covered, heated steering wheel, Bang & Olufsen audio. So again, you know, a few extra niceties for the asking price. So my tester, this one, Rapid Red, which is a really good color for this. I don't know, it really works with the with kind of the shaded, faded, dirty, I forget what you would call that, LED lights and the dark wheels and the running boards. Also features the extended range battery. That's right, the big battery, which if I had the small battery, I would not attempt this road trip, which hopefully will turn out well. So that package alone was $18,000. For 2022, also includes a sunroof and a rear heated seats, you know, just for good measure. Why not? It's also got the max trailering package and a bunch of other things. It was $99,000, give or take. For 2023, the same truck with the same equipment is $110,000. There is one big difference though, because it includes the charge station, the Ford charge station, which is the way you can actually feed your house with the stored energy in the battery. That's kind of a very cool feature and probably something I would definitely look into. As far as the remainder of the tour, there isn't much to say. I mean, other than it's a Super Crew cab from Ford, so it's massive and back. There's storage under the floor. See, no difference whatsoever on the inside because of the battery and all that. There's loads of room for a couple of bags or even an extra passenger there. Up front, more or less the same. It's all here, it's all the same. It's the leather, you know, fit finishes. This is what Ford does best, essentially, compared to most of its other vehicles. The F-150 isn't a Ford, is what I like to say. It's an F-150 because this is where Ford puts its biggest, best, strongest efforts to make it all work. So let's climb aboard. Okay, well, obviously I'm not wearing my gloves, but I was just a few minutes ago. So there's your digital display and your big 12-inch screen. Now, what happens when you have gloves, and I've been dealing with this all week, is that the controls do not respond. And they just barely respond with my bare frozen hands. That has been a point of contention. It's very annoying, and in fact this is very counterintuitive, I find. I don't know, it should be, you know, 1, 2, 3 on off, and that's it. That's simple. But whatever, that's just me. I just want to show you this too, because while I'll be driving, it'll be difficult. Your drive modes, and this is one of the coolest features. The same layout or setup as in the Mach-E. The only issue with this is that when you're, say, in the city, you want it on, so you want max regen braking all the time, and then when you hit The highway, you want to take it off so you can get a little bit more coasting. But the problem is, I don't know, let's just say, well, CarPlay is not set up. Use audio, I don't know, any screen or whatnot. To get to it, you got to go to the top of the screen and then scroll up and then access it. That's one of the only issues with the vehicle. Otherwise, I think I said 99% and I was smack on. When I left, I had, I think, 506 kilometers indicated, and that was, I kid you not, 5 kilometers ago, which is, like I said, a little bit scary. And otherwise, Ford's sync business is relatively straightforward. There's nothing really crazy going on. I do wish there were a few more hard buttons, that way. See, I don't know. I just want plus. Just give me 22. I don't want, full. There you go. It disappears before I get to it. Otherwise, everything else is Ford F-150. Storage is good. Storage is good. I got this. Storage is massive. Visibility is pretty good. And now, if all goes well, I'll be able to tell you about my road trip. So here he goes. Wish me luck. We made it! Thanks to all your well wishes. Actually, no, it wasn't. It's obviously not a surprise that we made it. Although I will say, and I will jump right to the issue, which was charging. On the way, as we left on the Friday afternoon, I was at 99%, I think, state of charge, with about 501 kilometers indicated as far as range is concerned. But like my previous experiences, that number, like the floor fell out from under it. By the time we'd covered about 120 kilometers on the trip, we were down to about 200, I think it was 210 kilometers indicated range. Not that it was frightening, not that it was unusual, but it certainly prompted us to plug in again. We found a 100 kilowatt charger, plugged it in, and something kind of odd happened. After about 15 minutes, charging at about 77 kilowatts, the error message showed up and it said that the nozzle was overheating, so it stopped the charge. Plugged it in again after a few minutes and we managed to bring it up to about 80%. It did take a while, but we got enough range to get to where we were headed with enough left over to get out of which sometimes feels, which is a good thing, the middle of nowhere. And then on the charging, on the second charge to get back, that went much better, if only because at the station where we were at, the 350 kilowatt charger was out, the 160 was out, which, if I'm not mistaken, the F-150 can only take 150, but even so, that would have been nice. And there was only one 100 kilowatt and two 50 kilowatt chargers, and we pulled in about 1.2 seconds ahead of a Kona EV that was gunning for the 100 kilowatt charger, which is kind of funny because a friend of mine, after I posted on Facebook, said that they now understand why EVs are so fast and have so much torque. It's to get to the charger first. Funny, not entirely true, but kind of, anyhow, a good one. Speaking of speed, this model, as I noted, has the extended range battery, and with 775 pound-feet of torque, which is the same for the regular, but with 580 horsepower as opposed to 452. Holy crap. Despite weighing 4 tons, this thing rockets. It's on fire. It's unbelievable. You can't imagine how quick this thing is. There is one major issue, however, and that's the weight that I just noted, because as far as handling is concerned on snowy, slippery roads, yes, the F-150 Lightning handles incredibly. I mean, the ride quality with the coil springs and the way the chassis is configured is unbelievably luxurious for what this truck is and can do. But look, you can't you can't compensate for the mass. I mean, even with all the driving nannies on, I mean, understeer is just, it's a constant reality. And tapping the throttle by removing the ESP it's not a good idea either, because there's just so much power. Son of a gun. Yeah, so yeah, the power is incredible. The ride is unbelievable. I mean, it's so quiet. Lots of traffic. It's so quiet, and when there's no snow in the wheels, as there is right now, I mean, it's ultra luxurious. Ultra luxurious. But I can't help but to think that it's not a working truck. Not yet. I mean, even for a pro model available for fleets in the US, I don't know. The maximum towing capacity in this thing is 10,000 pounds. And it can do it, I'm sure. I haven't done it, and I know that other people have done it, but it's a range killer, but it's also only 10,000 pounds. When you consider what the other versions of the F-150 can tow and pull and haul. Speaking of haul, 2,000 pounds in the box, which is not so bad, I suppose. But I think the Lightning, this first generation of the Lightning, which if rumors are true, we're going to get a new generation or the updated version as early as 25, which would make sense given that the Silverado EV and the Ram BEV, or whatever they're going to call it, will probably have, or production will probably already have begun by then. As far as the charging itself now, if you have a level 2 home charger, you know, a 240 volt, 32 amps, give or take, you can recharge this thing full charge in 14 hours, which is what I did last night, and it's perfect. 14 hours is long, especially, you know, but this is a massive 131 usable kilowatt hour battery. The base small battery is 98 kilowatt hours. Let's see, that'll give you 380 kilometers of range, whereas this is rated at 515. I think I mentioned that already. Look, suffice it to say that this thing is a triumph in engineering. Oh, and as I play with the screen, what I did, I complained about, you know, the sliding toggle thing, not toggle, but the sliders for the controls. I reconfigured a bunch of this stuff, and now it really is just a button for temp and for the heated seats. So it can be fixed. See, this is what happens when you go from like spending 3 hours in the truck over a 5-day period to spending, you know, an extra 9 or 10 hours in the truck over a weekend. So yeah, this is an extraordinary, ultra luxurious, very expensive EV truck, and the craziest part, I think, is that they are only going to get better, faster, more efficient, better built. This thing is, well, but as I just said, if you can, hold off. Like, they're gonna get better. They're just gonna get better. Hopefully the charging stations will follow suit, and I'm out.